So we've reached turn 2 admin segment, gut checks. Make any necessary gut checks first, as some of the other administrative topics may be overshadowed by the results. When do we make a gut check? Well, there are individual gut checks when players come within 10 inches of a tank with an operational main gun, or within 6 inches of an incendiary. Either you're the person targeted by the incendiary, or you're within 6 inches of one of your buddies getting targeted. The other thing is a unit gut check. So if its commanding officer is killed, that hasn't happened yet. But if the unit has enough casualties to destabilize the unit, and I think in this case we're looking at that situation now, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people up, plus the platoon leader, that's 8. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 figures down. I think that's easily more than 33%. So a regular unit makes the check when it's lost 33% of its men. And if the unit fails its gut check, the result varies with the degree of failure. So they don't get any modifiers here. This is the only time they have to make a gut check for casualties, right? It's a once, and it's not a complete failure situation. So we are rolling a gut check as 2d6, and the unit succeeds if it scores an 8 or more. Apply a -1 modifier for each soldier who is MIA for a maximum of 2. So in this case, I need an 8 or more to succeed, and the degree of failure determines what's going to happen. 8. Success. So in this case, the unit succeeds at its gut check, which means that we're going to continue to battle. And that also means that the admin segment means we have now to take into consideration the deferred deployment. Any squad that delayed deployment is placed on the board. Likewise, any civilians or militiamen are positioned. So I'm going to take my 2 militiamen, and I'm just going to put these bayonet-equipped dudes that are in gray. They are inside the building. So recall my commanding officer is up here on the roof peeking over with his binos, which he's got binos in hand, right? His RTO is down below relaying stuff to higher headquarters. These 2 dudes are inside the building. And the thing about the building is that a building has potentially loopholes that can be used to fire out. So let's find that rule now. All right, the rule as it's stated currently is on page 25, and I've got it only applying to bunkers. So I don't know if I should modify this rule or not, but basically the bunker rule is that each bunker is rated for a number of figures, usually 2d3 soldiers. Each figure has at least 1 firing platform or loophole that can be used for outbound fire. So should I apply that to this building? Are there loopholes already there? Well, you had commies in there. Let's see, 2d3. So 3 and 1 is 4. So there are 4 potential loopholes. So both those guys have like two firing positions in the building where they could take a pot shot on the following turn. I've got 4 sides to this building. I've got 4 loopholes. Let's just roll some dice here. I've got my favorite 12-side D4s right here. And north, that way is 1. So, and we're going to go clockwise. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 loopholes over here on this side. So they could hit these guys on the flank. Oh, and then we've got 2 in the back, so the RTO could be dead meat as well. So just be aware. Loopholes also allow fire in. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander too. Starting turn number 3 now. We're back to the activation sequence. Very important role for the bad guys. I mean the communists. Oh, 6 for the Allied side, modified makes that a 7, and a 1, he's out of position, so 1 means nothing. Again, the communists are frozen because their platoon leader, they keep rolling badly, and so their platoon leader can't activate and get up there and get control of this situation. These guys basically froze up once they started taking fire is what it feels like. Modified up to 7 means that I can activate 2 squads. Right, if I got 8, I would be the entire platoon, but in this case I get 2 squads. I got enough command points to activate 20 figures basically. So what do I got here? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I can modify. I can activate the whole shebang. Interruptions. These guys, potentially, they could be the interrupting force, right? Because interrupting force, I can specify a buddy team. In that case, it would be these two dudes. Or I can specify, up to a squad, I think, for interrupting force. Let's take a quick look here. Interrupting force. Rifle with bayonet, grenades, sniper, crew-served light machine gun. Crew-served light machine gun. So I can't even activate that dude because he's not crew-served. This is the only dude that I can activate. So my choices are really this pair or this pair. If the because those dudes can throw grenades out the loopholes. If I can do mortar section as a special interruption if we had wheeled, tracked, or aerial vehicles to target. This is going to be my interrupting force right here. Okay. And the allied forces can move everything. So let's see what they choose to do here. I'm going to activate my mortar section. And to do this, I've got to have at least 3 tubes within 5 inches of each other. So I've taken the minesweeper dude and added him over here. Same thing over there. I've added a minesweeper dude, so it's even. So I'm going to just activate my mortar section because I want to see how that plays out on the table. So let's look at this. Light mortars treated as grenade launchers except when used individually, except they cause injuries to soldiers in a 4-inch diameter impact area. Each tube may miss by 1/2-inch increments just as a grenade. See below. To conduct a fire mission, the mortars must be assembled as a section of 3 or 4 tubes within 5 inches. Check. Check or hold. Check. Furthermore, they must activate together as a fire team-sized element. Check. The section is assumed to have a means of radio or telephonic communication. No need to have an RTO. Trees within 5 inches doesn't apply. Along azimuth of fire. So azimuth of fire makes a difference. So where you're over or under or miss or whatever may cause your azimuth to shift, and it could take it across trees. In that case, the tree rule would likely apply. You'd have to be a real dummy to shoot them over trees and have it burst just hopelessly. So if I shot over there at those trees, that'd be just dumb because they would end up blowing up in the trees and not landing on the dudes on the far side. Shift the impact area so it's centered on the trees. Designer note, when the fire falls, inaccuracy is more likely to manifest as rounds going over or short instead of as a deflection left or right. However, the rules already have enough complexity. Grenade miss rules are close enough. So again, 4-inch diameter impact area. And we're going to have a target location, and we're going to roll each tube separately, and it's going to be rolled as if it's a grenade. So grenades have a 1 in 3 chance of not being thrown. However, this is mortar section, so that doesn't apply. Grenades, okay, we're not doing smoke grenades. Maximum throw is 6 inches or 5 inches, but this is light mortar. The range is here. So the target has to be at least 12 inches away. I guess I need to specify that. So let me find my pencil here and just circle this. So that's obvious, right? You can't shoot within 12 inches. And the maximum range is 48. So since this is a 4-foot by 4-foot table, the diagonal is the only thing that I can't really hit on. And I'm going to just strike at the, I'm going to strike at his mortar section, take them out of play so that he has no long reach anymore. Nominates a landing point and rolls 2d6 to hit with 7 or greater indicating success. Each pip below 7 represents a 1/2-inch miss. Determine at random. Each pip below represents 1/2 inch in some direction. So I need a 7 or greater for each of my 3 tubes here. The hit, a light mortar is going to do damage within 4-inch diameter of the impact area. I think I got all those dudes with 1 shot. I just 1-shotted him. Grenade blast is 2d6 hits to kill to all figures within that diameter, including friendlies. A figure may save for half damage by rolling 7 or greater on 2d6. Prone figures +1. Standing figures -1. So those guys are all standing, so it's -1. So they need an 8 or greater. First, with this dude, how much damage to this dude? 7 points of damage. Does he save for half? Yes, he saves for half. So half a 7, we're going to call that 3 points of damage on that dude. How much damage on that dude? 9. Does he save for half? No. So this dude's going to take 9 points of damage. He's dead. He's dead. That dude's taking 3 points of damage. How many points do he have? 1d6 plus 1. He's got 6, so he's down to 3. He took 3 points, so he's going to be ambulatory. So he's fine. Now the other 2 impacts, so this impact was aimed at that dude, so where does this one land at? 1d6. So that's 4. That's short of the target along the axis of the throw. Oh, I forgot to keep track of the number of pips that was off. Short of the target along the axis of the throw. And the other one was, again, short of the target along the axis of the throw. So somewhere out here, by ½ inches. If anybody remembers, I think it was like 3, so it would have been like 4.5 inches, so like 2 inches. So that one would have landed here where the decoy token is, incidentally, which means the decoy token goes away. Because everybody knows now that that is not a real person. Okay, so let's assume that it hit only 2 inches out there. That dude's within range. He's going to get 2 to 6 points of damage. Takes 3 points. Can he save for half? No. How many points does he have? 1d6 plus 1. He's got 5, so he's down to 2, and he's ambulatory. Okay, my mortar tubes that fired, these potentially become visible and become potentially targets for the interrupting force over here. Technically, they might have been able to fire, interrupt, knock down a guy, prevent the entire section from firing because it falls down to less than 3 dudes. But we're not going to retcon any of that stuff. 1 KIA and 2 ambulatory casualties over there, and we're going to move on with the game. But 7 or better, remain hidden. Pass, easily pass, easily pass. So all those dudes surprisingly remain hidden. Nobody has moved. Nobody else has fired. No target for those dudes. We're done with turn 2. We're done with turn 3. That's surprisingly not what I expected to happen, but that's what actually did happen.